I thought I'd show you a more unique, harder to find Casio Duro and answer some questions like how and where do you buy it. And in the second part of my video, I'll walk you through how to change a bezel insert on your Casio Duro, because you guys saw my modded Duro with the ceramic insert in a recent video and have been asking about it. I make a lot of content featuring Casio watches and G-Shocks, so consider subscribing if that's your thing. So what have I got here? It looks like a Casio MDV-107, a newer version of the classic MDV-106, which of course had the much loved marlin motif on the dial, and it is an MD-107 but it's slightly different. As best I understand, it's a so-called online limited model, though I bought mine a year ago and you can still get them. It's a JDM watch, meaning for the Japanese domestic market, if you've not heard that phrase before. That said, I bought mine direct from Amazon Japan. In fact, it was sold and shipped by Amazon Japan, and I'll place an affiliate link in the description to take you directly to this exact watch. If you use it, I can earn a small fee, my usual disclosure. And such is the speed that Amazon expedites orders, mine was delivered from Japan to the UK in about 5 days and cost no more than buying locally. About the same. I suspect if you're in the United States or Europe, your buying experience should be just as swift. But you ask, what's limited about it and how is it different? Well, perhaps a couple of things. First, I already mentioned the MDV-107 no longer displays the marlin motif on the dial as the 106s did. Instead, they just have a single line of small text that says WR200M that few people seem to like. It makes them look very plain and looks odd because it doesn't fill the dial space proportionally. Anyway, I don't have a standard MDV-107 like that to show you, but you can see on my JDM 107 that we have 2 lines of text, water resist and 20 bar written under that. Many of us would prefer the fish, as I call it, of older models. I think the demise of the marlin, which is also now omitted from the stainless steel caseback, had something to do with licensing, but this model visually looks better than the more readily available 107s. The model reference of my watch in this colorway is MDV-107-1A1JF. There are 2 other colorways available with this dial text, which are the red and blue or the black and blue bezel insert watches, affectionately nicknamed by the watch community the Pepsi and the Batman, respectively. Mine has the all black bezel, and all 3 of these edition models have black dials. Another reason to get an MDV-107 over an MDV-106 is that if they're newer, perhaps the batteries are newer. Maybe the MDV-106 models have been in storage longer, but I don't know if that's the case or not. By the way, if you don't have a Casio Duro in your collection, you should. Like many people, I was put off by its dimensions until I tried it. Now I have 5. Find out why in my video I made showcasing my full collection of Casio Duro watches, link in the description. That's where some of you saw this watch. It did have a red and blue bezel insert. It now has this ceramic bezel insert. Heads up, I don't recommend you do this mod. I'll explain why, but if you must, here's what I think is the easiest way. Okay, put the knife down or the caseback remover. The bezel does not need to come off. Find yourself a container about this size. Fill it with your favourite solvent. If you have a favourite, you should probably talk to someone about that actually. But any will do. Nail varnish remover is probably the most accessible to most people. This is just water for my demonstration because I don't actually want to remove my bezel insert. I just want to show you the level you need to fill it to. See? Just enough so that you submerge the bezel. No need to wait overnight, you should be good in around 2 or 3 hours, after which you can normally just nudge the insert by holding the bezel here and pushing the insert in this direction, and it will then be loose enough to just pull forward by the loom pip with your nail with almost no effort. It might even fall out. If not, soak it for a little longer. Now you need to find your aftermarket bezel insert of choice. And the first reason I don't recommend this mod is because nobody makes an insert specifically for the Casio Duro in the normal places you might look and or that are an exact fit. Item listings might say they fit, but they're normally inserts that just happen to have similar inner and outer diameters, Aluminium ones are often designed to fit the Amiga Planet Ocean, which look a bit like this, and they do fit, but the outer diameter is 0.1 millimeters smaller in my experience, so you might see a small gap here when fitted. And you're just swapping one aluminium insert for another, which is not really an upgrade. So what most of you want is a scratch resistant ceramic insert. This ceramic insert is the same as the blue one I made fit in here, just a different colour. Sellers describe both as being designed to fit the Duro, but they don't. I had to shape this significantly to make it fit. I'll show you how. First, here's the OEM Casio insert I removed. It's scruffy because I tried several methods of fading it with chemicals for a distressed look, and it resisted all of them. Eventually I sanded it, but didn't like the result. That's the second reason not to change your bezel insert. The original insert is extremely high quality and very difficult to damage. That's a good reason to keep it. Anyway, here's a comparison of the dimensions. This inner diameter is around 32.8 versus 32.4 millimeters. So this hole needs to be enlarged. And the outer diameter of the OEM part is around 40.8 versus 41.4 on the ceramic insert. You reduce the outer diameter like this, and the inner diameter like this. Very tedious work. And you might think removing 0.4 of a millimeter is no big deal, but those are colossal amounts of material to move. In fact, you can file this forever and it will remain exactly the same size you started with if you're using a regular metalwork file. The file I have is a diamond file. This is the only type that will work on ceramic, and this is not fun. To reshape your insert will take around 3 or 4 hours, including the inevitable rest breaks. If you're lucky, you can get one with diameters that don't need filing, but that's only half your problem. Next, look at how thick they all are. They have to make them this thick because ceramic, while scratch resistant, is very brittle, and many people report breaking theirs just while trying to install them. 0.2 millimeters versus 1.2 millimeters thick. So this will protrude like crazy from the bezel. I reduced the thickness on this insert to around 0.5 millimeter, which was as thin as I dared, and which took another 3 or 4 hours of careful diamond filing. It still sticks up a little, but I'm happy with it. Before I forget, if you made it this far, please would you like the video? It's helpful for smaller creators. Thanks. Finally, I use CS Supply's Hypo Cement with its precision applicator to fix my new inserts in place.